Who better than me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the casual stream with your host, Base the Kid. As always, please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, a relative, an associate, an enemy, any and all in between. It's appreciated. Apologies, I'm a few minutes late. Had to do a couple things real quick just to make sure I had certain things going on in the background. But as always, Wednesday 7:30, sometimes Thursdays at 8 o'clock. But we are here, and we are here to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But especially, we will be talking about what took place over the weekend, and more importantly, what it means for certain hype jobs and certain other frauds, and how the big Saudi Arabia experience is exposing the people that have been all talk and had nothing to show for it in the past. But with that being said, shout out to the chat, shout out to everyone who is in attendance. Let's see who's around. Quick one just before I even get into that. So I had the pleasure and the privilege of being at the Matchroom HQ earlier on today. Managed to get a couple of bits of information, couple of interviews. Got one with Johnny Fisher for his fight against Alan Babbage, one with Maisie Rose Courtney, and one with Eddie Hearn. I did want to get Frank Warren and Alan Babbage as well, but you know, other things happened. There was also some other fighters from the undercard that's going to be on that show that I did want to speak to, but I was kind of moving about, doing all types of different things, trying to fit in some other commitments at the same time. So yeah, it was a lot. And also shout out to Danny from Fight Fan TV, but I had to also help him out with some of his content. So yeah, my time was a bit limited, but we got it all done. Another big shout out, October Red, as always, in the building, you know, putting in that hard graft. And I'm not sure when her stuff's going to come out, probably either late tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, she was doing amazing work as usual. So big up her and big up any of the other channels. Oh, big up to Proper Boxing. I met Sonny from Proper Boxing earlier on today. Very funny guy, great guy. I love their channel, love the content, the videos on YouTube, as well as the podcast they do, the Proper Boxing podcast. And he even knew who I was when I didn't even have to introduce myself. He's like, Face the Kid. So we're moving. You know, when the big channels start knowing who you are, it's a good thing. But yeah, let's get up into the chat to see who's around at the moment. Shout out to Philip Answer, #1 in the building as always. Salute to you, Philip. Star Fox WR45E, get base to Riyadh season 100%. I should be over there on the 12th of October. I don't know how we're gonna do it. I don't know if we're gonna have to do some extra work to kind of get on the radar, but yes, I need to get over to Saudi and experience the good vibes and the good energy and the good people, the same as everyone else has been able to do. Toby Bartlett, salute to you as always. Reese Cooper in the building. Oh, on Philip, 1 second. Jonah 31 in the building as well. Salute to you. Philip says, last time we were cooking that bag of milk Fury, now let's cook Flamingo legs Wilder. 100%. Look, we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna let the chat and the people permeate just for a little bit longer, because obviously we do need to discuss that and how that also affects Tyson Fury, and to a lesser extent a couple of the, you know, credible quote unquote pundits and everyone else who had these two as at one point #1 and #2 in the division. The big smoke screen that took place to try and alienate you know, Anthony Joshua from the heavyweight scene when he was getting too big, and they didn't like it, and they wanted to try and leverage their own money and their own fame off of his name and off the fact that they was fighting each other and he wasn't. All of that stuff, we'll get into all of that. Yasmin, as always, thank you very much for being in the building. Toby, Proper Boxing is hella funny. I've been a subscriber since his very first video. Yeah, Proper is like, it's amazing content. Love it. Emma Willis in the building as well. Shout out to you, Emma, each and every week. Each and every week. So yeah, let's see. Let it go for about another minute or so, and then we'll start getting into the talks and everything else, because there's a lot to talk about, and I definitely think I'm going to open up the chat in about 45 minutes after I've had my say. And if anyone else has got anything they want to contribute, not just to the whole, the Saudi thing in the wild, anything else you want to bring up, we could talk about. Philip Bacoli versus Anderson is on the US card. Did you see that? Yes, I literally saw it about 30 minutes ago. Very interesting fight. It's not a fight I would have expected Jared Anderson to take, but he did say he wants to get that work, basically. And Bacoli very heavy-handed, but is a bit slow and is beatable because he's been beaten before. So it'd be a very hard test for Jared Anderson, but he might have to get on his Daniel Dubois bag right now and just show that he's got what it takes to to sort of get the job done. Jay Lanks in the building, shout out to you. And Umrad Arawak, shout out. As Jasmine saying, all I remember is whenever Fury or Wilder fight week happens, all they talk about is AJ. Yep, that was the way to sell the fight. I think it's not just them. There's a lot of people that do that, not even just with AJ's name, but whoever the cash cows are, you'll probably see the same thing this week coming up with David Benavidez still talking about Canelo, even though he's up at 175 now. You'll probably get Gervonta Davis talking about Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney and the fact that he beat Ryan Garcia, just these big names. So, yeah, I'm down. Wilder Defense League in the building. King Wakanda made the heavyweight where it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's move this one on. Okay, so first things we got to address. Joe Joyce did it as well. Yes, that's 100% true. He did. Now let's talk about. Okay, first of all, let's talk about what we saw over the weekend, right? And I'm not going to get into any of the technical stuff because you guys, under duress of my contract and under the terms and agreements I did adhere to, I will be on the breakdown at 9 o'clock later on today. So we're getting double dose of me in this evening, right now, and then again at 9. But let's look at the fight over the weekend. So the first thing that we see is, for a guy that's supposed to have the most devastating right hand in the game, and the biggest puncher of the modern era, and probably the hardest hitter in heavyweight history, and all of that sort of stuff. Deontay Wilder has absolutely no records to his name that actually backs up the claim of him being the hardest punching heavyweight ever, or of this generation, or in the last 25 years, or whatever metric you want to put it to. He's never been lauded as a bigger puncher than someone like Ernie Shavers. He's always been considered as probably pound for pound one of the biggest, hardest punchers in the history of boxing. So you got Ernie Shavers, you've got Shannon Briggs. Doesn't he have something like 37 first round KOs? Like, that's the kind of record that you get when your power's legit and you can put someone down. Like, what? Tell me if they know, if there's anyone in here that can maybe debunk anything that I'm saying. What stat does a Deontay Wilder have in his entire career that communicates that he is the biggest punching heavyweight of the modern era, or maybe of all time? Someone tell me, because I've never seen it. I don't know where this comes from. Let's look at Vladimir Klitschko's got more knockouts than Deontay Wilder's got fights. How can Deontay then be compared as the hardest puncher? Like, it's absolutely crazy, to be totally honest. So that's one thing. So we look at that, we say, well, the power's not really there, but you're fighting a southpaw. Okay, cool. We know southpaw isn't your thing, but you fought enough of them to be able to find a range at least. Yes, Zhang is a much bigger guy than you, but in terms of the way that you like your heavyweights, he's exactly what you like. He's a massive target. He's tall, so you don't have to reach down. You can punch straight. Like he's got shorter arms than you, so you should be able to get to a shot before him. But yet the entire night, all you're doing is you're doing is back foot circling the ropes. Like literally, it's like when you do that side skipping. You do the side skipping just for the warm up when you're going around the football pitch or around the boxing gym, and you got to circle the ropes just to warm up. That's pretty much what man's doing the entire fight. Yeah, so yeah, okay, he tries to throw a couple right hands in there. There was a right hand, I think it was in the second round. And this particular right hand, I love the way that if you look at it slowly, you will see the right hand comes out and Zhang literally just does that. And it just misses. And he did that several times. And you realize that as big as this guy is, as sort of chunky and slow as his legs may be, like his number one, his brain's super quick. He's got incredibly fast arms, and he's got good reflexes. Plus, he's got that tight guard, which is very, very hard to penetrate. So when you see all of this, and then you literally see Wilder having absolutely no answers, and then you think, how can a guy be arguably a top 3 guy in the division at any point? We're not obviously talking about right now, because clearly that myth got busted a little while ago. But even when people were under the gaze of potential, oh, he is like that guy, but yet you don't know how to maneuver someone into a position to get them where you want them. You don't know how to throw a decoy. Like how do you not know how to throw a decoy shot that then I probably could have survived a couple extra rounds because I'm a much smaller target to hit. It's just, you look at that and then you look at the right hands that he did throw, and people are like, oh well, he didn't throw it with the same conviction. Or maybe he's just in there with someone that had a better defense than, the rest of the C and D and E level opponents that he was facing in the past. How about that? Rather than making excuses for him, which, and be honest, there has been times where I've made excuses for people, or I've tried to give reasons or tried to find some conjecture to make their to sort of give their case a bit more credence, a bit more balance to the topic. But ultimately, when we look at this whole career and we say, and we're still saying, from 2017 up until 2024, 2018, sorry, up until 2024, your best win is still Luis Ortiz. In the first fight, when you got rocked to high heaven. Now, good, you got rocked, you came back from that. That's brilliant. We know that shows that at least you got minerals. Chin's questionable, but you've got minerals at the very least. All right. But then you went to go and run it back with that guy to quote unquote clean it up when no one asked you to clean it up. Like, what was the need for that? All right, we'll give you Dominic Brazil, just because I guess we can't say that your one didn't mean anything if Anthony Joshua fought the guy as well. Okay, cool. But that still being said, you look at it, and again, a guy that's tailor-made for you, but a guy with no defense. I mean, it's a very embarrassing situation when a guy that's supposed to be the best, or one of the best heavyweights of the modern era, or was a previous top 3, and his best wins are Luis Ortiz and Robert Helenius. Like, that's literally, you think about it, you've got those two, then you've maybe got Berman Stefan in the first fight, and potentially you might give him Dominic Brazil as the fourth. But those are your 4 signature wins. And you were supposed to be the heavyweight of this division. You was the guy that, because he got the WBC belt, that means that he's number one. He's the guy. He don't even have to unify with the rest of the champs. So I'm the one with the most prestigious belt. That's what he said. Let's not forget that he said that in, 2018, I think he said that. Like, and now I'm supposed to be sad that he's going out this way. No, what's happening is he's finally being asked to fight people that he should have been fighting 10 fights ago. From the time that you won that belt from Berman Stavern, these are the type of fights you should have been having. Now, I'm not saying you're supposed to have them back to back, but when the offer, when the chance was there for you to unify with Joseph Barker, you and the team, or PBC, whoever it was, tried to dilly-dally and tried to lowball Joseph Parker with money. So then he ended up getting, Matchroom came in and Sky, and basically offered him, I think, 4 times more than what you tried to offer him to unify in the UK. Better yet, you had 2 belts over the PBC, Charles Martin and Deontay Wilder. Why did that unification not happen when there was both under the same umbrella? But yet you go and let Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua go and take Charles Martin for something like, what was it, $6 million, $6.5 million, and you let them go and quote unquote take your work, and then talk about, we didn't have the same opportunities as he had. But these times the belts was on your side of the street. So what opportunities did you need? Someone tell me, please, because to me that don't make no sense at all. Like, the belts are on your side of the street, but yet you're complaining that this guy is taking opportunities away from you, and you can't get these fights, so you're not given the opportunity to have these fights. Well, how could you not have had the opportunity? You would have been able to speak to the Donnies before they did. All of it pure deflection and smoke. And let's not forget that moment when everyone was saying, Anthony Joshua's ducking the fight, even though Deontay Wilder was the one that said, yeah, I lost my pen, that motherfucker gone. Let's not forget when he said that. So the guy said that, but yet it's the other guy that's ducking. Crazy, right? And this ain't even about Anthony Joshua. This is about the exposure of the hype train, the hype job, the overhyped, undermatched, overrated right hand of Deontay Wilder, and by consequence, and by I guess in congruence to that, in synergy to that, it's also the the further exposure of Tyson Fury, who's now the only win that you can talk about for Tyson Fury when you mention him is Klitschko that night in Dusseldorf. Because have you heard what they've tried to say when he went to Germany and fought Klitschko, and he went and fought someone who at the time was considered one of the, imagine that's what they're saying now, at the time. So even they can't talk about him being like one of the most devastating punches anymore. Now everything is at the time. Tell me that ain't crazy. But yeah, like, the one thing, and then, you know what? The thing is, I shouldn't even conflate these two situations. The only thing I will say, and the only thing I will give Deontay Wilder credit for, there's two things. The first one is obviously for the reason as to why he got into boxing. We all know about that. His eldest daughter had spina bifida, very ill. He needed a way to be able to pay for the treatments, and that's basically was his avenue that he chose from, I think, working as like a UPS, so he was working in a restaurant or like a food shop or something. So, all right, I give you props for that. And then the other thing is, as much as I believe that he ducked fights and I believe that he was scared of certain people, in the ring, when he does get put down and punched up, he does tend to try and at least get to his feet. Now, I don't know if that's sometimes maybe he's just trying to get to his feet to get up, as some people do, or if he's trying to get up to continue. But I will give him that. While his chin is not good, inside the ring, I can't really question his heart in terms of at least trying to attempt to get out, because we've never seen him take a knee. I give him that. We've never seen him quit in the corner. I say, I don't want no more. We've never seen him turn his back and say no mas, although we did see him do a 360 like he was trying to copy Michael Jackson from back in the 1980s. He must have thought he was from the Off the Wall album, the way he done that spin. You know, he was a bit too slow with it. He should have been trying to focus on 90s Jackson, you know, the white version. He was a bit quicker with the spin. Like your one, you took a bit too long to go around the orbit. And as we saw, Zhang, he must have thought his name was Jet Li, because I've never seen him move that quick in the ring. If you guys remember the Jet Li film, The One, that's how quick Zhang was moving in that ring to get to Wilder, to lick him with that right hand. It was amazing. What I still right now can't believe the speed at which he moved. Like it was that, to me, it was ungodly. I was thinking Mortal Kombat when that right hand came in. Like that was a big finishing moment, and he was not letting that one slide. He literally moved like a big bang, like very, very sudden, very rapid. I've seen it a couple of times. I've been sent it from several different angles, some of which directly from the arena, from friends and people that I know that was there, and obviously the Matchroom and the DAZN broadcast and some of the other people that was there at the time. So I've seen it from numerous angles, and I've enjoyed watching it. I don't know who I've been happier that got exposed between him and Fury. I think it's him, and the reason I say I think it's him is because obviously Fury exposed him to begin with, you know, but now the win just started to age like milk that's been left out in that Saudi Arabian desert. Like that's what the win is starting to age like. But I think the reason I'm happier that it's happened to Deontay than anyone else is because he's the one that ruined Undisputed for 6 years. We should have had Undisputed in 2018, and I don't want to hear about AJ should have gave him 50-50. No, he shouldn't have. He didn't warrant 50-50 at the time. I understand maybe you could have made more concessions overall, but I'm sorry, if I'm bringing in 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times more money than you per fight, there's no way that you get to upgrade your paycheck by like 20 times, and I've got to downgrade mine just for you to get in the ring to get money that you've not earned, that you don't deserve. So there's that one. Then we get the DAZN situation where the guy literally came. We know that he turned down the 120 million from DAZN for the 3 fights. And then people said, oh, he turned it down because AJ's name wasn't on the contract. Well, of course his name wasn't on the contract, because they didn't write his 3 fights into the contract. They just named the deal, said, well, we'll pay for your mandatory, and then we'll give you the extra 2 fights. Of course, they only wanted him for AJ fights. Why else would they pay Deontay Wilder $50 million at that time? To fight who? Clearly, they're going to want either a return on investment, or they're going to want eyes on the channel. You don't get the eyes on the channel unless you are fighting Anthony Joshua at that time. And he robbed us of Undisputed for 5 years. Up until when he got beat up by Tyson Fury. Actually, when was that? That was 2021. Okay, no, he robbed us of it for 3 years, and then allowed Tyson Fury to rob us of it for a further 2. But the fact is, when we were supposed to get it, it was him and his team that didn't want it. It was him and his team that tried to lie and create a narrative to besmirch the good name and the good standings of the UK heavyweights and the UK people, acting like we were the ones that were in the wrong. We were the ones that didn't really want it. We were the ones that, quote unquote, weren't about that life and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I think for me, it's a bit sweeter for him, although I enjoyed both. And I enjoyed the fact that by proxy, his demise in the game further destroys Tyson Fury's illusions and legacy. I'm sorry, I'm not usually a person that is very much of people's that it laughs at people's downfalls and stuff, and I'm not even laughing now. But in terms of justice being served, yeah, especially considering the amount of money he's managed to swindle out of the game over the last several years. So you know what? I salute him for that, because he's gone to the bank several times and robbed it. after being extremely limited in both ability, in composure, in willingness to take the proper fights. Bear in mind, let's not forget, last year when he fought Joseph Parker, he wasn't going to fight if Saudis never offered him a big bag, which meant that he wasn't even really keen on quote unquote, you know, getting in. What was it Malik said? Oh, preferably we would have preferred a tune-up for a fight like Parker. When you had a whole year to get in a fight before. All right, maybe Andy Ruiz possibly like might have messed you about a bit. What, was he the only person that you could fight? If you're this big star Deontay Wilder, I'm sure you just put names in the hat and let anyone come get that smoke. If it was a tune-up you wanted or your tune-ups you needed, you could have fought anyone for maybe, you know, a little piece of change. But obviously you wanted that big bucks, innit? You wanted that dough. Well, unfortunately, that dough comes with them big fists and them big bangs, as Young would say. And unfortunately, he got you, and that's what you had to do for them paydays. So imagine this is the same guy. And again, shout out to Eddie Hearn. When you guys see my Eddie Hearn interview later, probably tomorrow now, like we had some very funny interaction, especially at the start of the video. But this is the same guy that said Anthony Joshua was being milked by the white man. He was being, you know, he was dancing for massa, essentially. That's what he said. You know, the white man's milking him for all his worth and all that stuff. When he had JD's as his basically his number 2, even though Mark Breland was a trainer, and Shelley Finkel was his manager. Now, you know, forgive me, but that's 2 sets of white guys taking money out of your purse. But Anthony Joshua is the one getting milked by the white man. Really? So where does that all make sense? Please, someone let me know, because again, I don't understand the logic. I don't understand all of that. But then you say, okay, well, you go that way, and then you end up working with Eddie Hearn. Now, whether that was due to what shall we call it? Due to interference by HE, or if that was, you know, a genuine effort by Eddie to try and extend the olive branch. Well, as steadfast and as ego-driven as you are, the fact that you even curtailed to the possibility of working with this guy that you've basically slated and said that you would never do business with, and he's the devil and blah blah blah. What does that say about you? Does that mean that your allegiance can be bought? Is that what it's telling us? Is it telling us that your spirit has been that badly broken that you've had to now go and bow your head to to maybe the one person you hated more than anyone else in this game? You tell me. All I know is that outside of apart from the fact that you are, let's say, hoping that you are healthy, fit and healthy, and not suffering any long-term and significant injuries lasting, because I would never want that to happen to anybody. But the fact that this is all happening to you now, and the illusion is being broken, it's joyous times. Unfortunately, I have to look at it like that. That's my take on it anyway. Let me go into this. We're going to chat, see what the people's been saying. First things first. Oh, I see a super chat here from Fidel to Wildy. Shout out to you. If Wilder doesn't retire, him versus Chisora, the last hurrah card. Lure Wilder into retirement with dignity, or another big bag with Dillian for winner. Art Sketty. Funny enough, right? I was saying yesterday, or I was either yesterday or this morning. No, it might have been this morning. I was in the gym, and I was saying I actually don't want him to retire yet. I'd like if he'd let him fight Chisora, because Chisora said obviously he wants to have that fight in Zimbabwe. Potentially, you can have that. You can do that fight. That would be big enough there. I'm sure they could work something out. But even not that one, he said he wants to fight in London, then Manchester. So let him fight Chisora, or the winner of Chisora versus versus Joyce, because Frank Warren said that it's the end of the line for whoever loses that fight, basically saying that they have to retire. Well, let him fight the winner of that fight, or potentially let him fight the loser of that fight. You got two losers, and then literally whoever comes through that maybe gets their final instruction, and the other one definitely has to call it a day. Let me go further up this chat. Go back to but Luis Ortiz beat the GOAT Dave Allen. The caddy in 1987. To be fair, his team robbed the bank, built profile of AJ, and most people bought into the hype. 100%. Star Fox could have took the 100 million and retired years ago. Facts. Then he would have only had 2 knockout losses on his record instead of 3. Emma Willis. Wilder's got the most embarrassing knockdowns ever. Yep. Shout out to Owen Building. Someone mentioned Wilder fighting Lawrence Cody for the Bridgerweight WBC. There's no money in that one, but one I don't mind watching. I'd watch it. To be honest, it makes more sense for him to go down to Bridgerweight. But here's the joke. He goes down to Bridgerweight. He's still one of the smallest guys in the division. But Lawrence Cody came into the ring about 15 to 20 pounds heavier than him when he had his fight with Lucas Rosansky. He was on a scales at about 224. He said he came in the ring about 232, something like that. So, yeah, Dillian White too. Yes, I will never forget that. And I would like to hope that Dillian knows how I feel about that situation. I've maintained that I think Dillian White would have beat him. And look, I've said that before with Tyson Fury, and it didn't age well. But maybe at the time, initially when it was being called out, that was my belief, and there was nothing that really that could tell me different based on certain things. Then obviously Dillian changed, and maybe I was refusing to accept how much he had changed, and maybe Wilder would have knocked him spark out. But every single person that was in that Klitschko sparring camp, that was in the Klitschko camp for, I think it was David Haye, when he was fighting David Haye or some fight in and around that period. Every single person that was in that Klitschko camp offered out and called out Deontay Wilder, and he didn't fight any of them. Klitschko called him out, obviously, for the undisputed, and Shelley Finkel said he's just a baby after having 33 fights at this time. How are you a baby after winning the belt after 33 fights? And he was 28, 29 years old at the time? Nah, that don't make no sense. But you get that. Dillian called him out. Who else was in that training camp? I'm not sure, don't quote me on this one, but I think Filip Hrgović might have been in that camp as well. And there was someone else, there was another Brit that was over in that camp. And they've all said they wanted to get in it might have even been Chisora. But even, let's not forget that, Chisora versus Wilder was supposed to take place back in, 2013, 2014? And Deontay Wilder never showed up to the press conference. You remember that? And then that same Derek Chisora called him out the other day. He said, "Look, I still want to fight Deontay Wilder. I want to taste that. I want to taste the power." That's what he said. And they said no. Imagine turning down a fight from Derek Chisora at the time. He had lost about 11 fights, and clearly you saw the blueprint on how to beat him, but you didn't want that smoke either. I mean, it's not looking. The whole legacy is in tatters. Emma, AJ ducked nothing. Wilder rejected offers over and over again, 100%. Wilder bragged about ducking White too. Yep, I remember. I ain't got to do nothing for 3 years, so you know what I'm on, or whatever he said in the DMs. And Akram Barak saw it to verify that that's exactly what man said. Yasmin, Wilder messed up when he turned down 100+ million for back-to-back AJ fights. Yeah. Jam down 187. No, basis compromise. He's not giving Wilder his credit for the time when Ruiz beat HA and MSG. That was a great performance from Wilder. To this day. Funny enough, I saw a Radio Raheem earlier as well, so shout out to him. Shout out to Raw. Saw him earlier on as well. Was it just typical US sense of entitlement to the heavyweight division that had them all bought into him? Yeah, he was probably the last hope that they had, and at that time, they had to try and glorify and make some sort of semblance of his worthiness to the game. But there was nothing there to be worthy and to celebrate. I'm sorry. Did the 360 but got headshotted himself. Yeah, imagine that. Same thing you've been practicing in the gym all this time, and then it doesn't work. Zhang did step on Wilder's foot though. Check the footage. And whose fault is that? You're supposed to get lead foot position. And then what happened? He threw. I swear, at that particular time, he was the one that put his legs, his feet into that position to get caught. Such as life. And you know what? If Zhang did that, then that's even smarter for him. That goes to show that his ring IQ is next level. He made sure that you weren't getting away. Bang, take that. I think his legs were too weak to deliver for UPS for a full shift. To quote Biggie, "Don't be mad, UPS is firing." I like it. Shout out to H Don 88 Pro. Zhang wins flawless victory. Yeah. Run A in the building. Yeah, the spin was amateurish. Wilder was back in the Amazon with the ayahuasca when Zhang clipped him with the right. Yep. Wilder spoke so much crap on AJ's name, he kept on projecting his own shitness on AJ. I'm beyond satisfied witnessing his downfall. Cali, big facts. And Umrah Darawak, it's not like Wilder had any skill or adaptability, so who can fix him up now? He's supposed to retire and celebrate life. Yeah. There's only one person. The joke is there's only maybe two people that can help Deontay Wilder at this point in time. One is going back to Mark Breland, because at least he'll give him a delivery system to try and set up this right hand to see if he can do anything with it. And the only other person I would say is probably someone like Shane McGuigan, who maybe looks worse because of what happened on the weekend, but make no mistake, in terms of mechanically and making someone function correctly, there's no one better than Shane. Shane would at least get Wilder punching back through that target. Glorified backup dancer, literally twerking for clout. Yep. Stay blessed, be real in the building. Shout out. Reese Cooper, reckon his music career will take off. Well, if that's what he's banking on, he better hope he's got that big property in Alabama with those low interest rates. Ra Holcomb, I'll give Wilder credit for suggesting a couple of good restaurants, the Farmhouse in Coventry and Smoky Beards in Riyadh. Okay, I'll add those to the list of names of places I need to travel to, especially Smokies. I'll go there in Riyadh definitely. Damn down. The LDBC argument behind the DAZN deal reduced my IQ by just listening to that foolishness. DAZN was trying to pay Wilder $100 million to keep AJ away. There's even less reason to turn down that offer. Yeah. What's good, base? Just tuned in. What do you think to Wilder versus White? I still want to see it. If he don't retire, I want to see Wilder against Chisora. I want to see Wilder against White. I don't want to see Wilder against AJ because that fight means nothing now. If AJ wins that fight, he gets absolutely nothing from it, and Wilder can't win that fight in his current state. So yeah, but I want to see him against Chisora. I want to see him against White, and I actually want to see him against Joyce as well. Turned himself into a House Wilder, for shame. Yeah. Run A. And Wilder, for a fighter who turned pro in 2008, should have fought at least one Klitschko, but it's clear for all to see he was protected. Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't go 32 fights before, in this era I'm talking about, before getting a title shot and then never unifying if you're actually on the greatness that you're quoting. And that was always something that was mad to me. The people in the US was like, he's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. He wants to clean that division, one face, one name, one champion, but never tried to unify with a guy that was on the own side of the street as him. And they fell for it. Some people that are supposed to be very highly intelligent and smart fell for it. Crazy. I'll never forgive him for ruining Black History Month. Yeah. Well, luckily, he only ruined the American one. Like the UK one, we're still all right. But yes, I hear you. That's rude. House Wilder be shucking and driving. Danny Mardu, shout out to you. Wilder said he lost the fight because Hearn didn't tell him Zhang was a southpaw. Yeah, no, I heard that. I think it was there was some American channels that said something like that. So yeah, that was very funny. But imagine, why would Hearn have to tell him you're southpaw? You've got Malik Scott in the corner, who is good friends with the man's trainer. Surely he would be able to tell you the southpaw. You know, such is life. Shout out to North Bank Bren in the building. Driving Miss Finkel and all sorts. 100%. North Bank. Apparently, Breland started his own water company in Saudi to fully finish Wilder off. Yeah, him and Malik were probably colluding. Shout out to Flizzy. No way White beats Wilder. Okay, cool. Let him fight him. We both think alike, base. We want to see Wilder smashed again, and what would be humiliating by Chisora and White final nailing any possibility to be in the Hall of Fame. 100%. And the thing is, even if he fought them and beat them, cool, I'll rate it. But guess what? You didn't fight them when you're supposed to. When you was at the height of your powers is when you were supposed to fight these guys. Breland Springs. What happened to Akam Barak? I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple months. Who knows? Maybe we'll hear from them soon. ERF Boxing, shout out. He spun the wrong way. That's why he got slept. Have you seen the WBC controversial belt for Tank versus Martin? Yes, that Juneteenth belt. They had that on the line 2 years ago for, I think it was a Jamal Charlo fight or a Jamel Charlo fight. I can't remember who he was fighting though. But yeah, they've done that shit before. It's getting embarrassing now. Kate Abdul, she infiltrated and then moved on to Malik Scott. Jeez. Luke and shout out. Has there been a time when two fighters under the same management have fought? Wasn't Klitschko and Wilder under the same management? That's a conflict of interest. You can get the same. You can get people fighting under the same manager. Many people have done it before. It's not, and it's about making sure you can get the best. You get the best deal for both guys. That's what you do. But ultimately, they never said we're under the same management. We can't have the fight. It was he's a baby. He needs some more fights. We can make that fight down the line. Normally, when two guys have the same manager or two girls have the same manager, it actually makes the fight easier to make, especially if they've got a network. The only time that doesn't happen is if like the manager doesn't have a network deal or doesn't have a promotion behind them, and then they have to. Basically, they're almost trying to guarantee that their people stay valuable so that they can get opportunities. That's the only time when you don't have two people on the same management fighting. That's why Arnold Barboza and Jose Ramirez didn't fight each other, because they didn't have a set network deal. Their values wasn't high enough, and I think it was Rick Mirrigan didn't want to risk any of their stock dropping by losing the fight. Okay, no way Zhang stepping on his foot and it didn't break. That's excuse for number 3,654 in the making. We would have heard it by now. The Breland well has run dry for Wilder at this point. Yep. Well, at least he has a statue to look at back home. The man paid to cry next to it must be crying harder now. Yeah. Shout out to Mark Humby. I therefore watch Wilder versus White. The build-up would be epic if nothing else. Yeah, because I know Dillian ain't forgotten about about that. And from what I hear, that whole situation stemmed not just from the gym, but from a woman as well. So you know that that's going to be extra spicy when they start bringing that into account. Lizzie, going to make an excuse for Wilder, but it seems like he was having personal issues as well. I believe Swift left him. Yeah, I heard about that. And that could be a very contributing factor. I'm not going to dispute that. But if what his brother said was true, then he brought that particular situation on himself for, you know, being unfaithful behind the scenes. And he was married before and ended up leaving his wife to get with Telly Swift after having an affair with her. So, you know, those personal issues, if you brought them on yourself, I can't really, you know, I particularly can't, you know, give you a pass for that or give you any further sympathy. I can't really relate. Needs to change his name to Tamed after that. Deontay Tamed, I like it. They need to build a hall of names for this guy. Hall of Fame, GTFOH. Yeah, 100%. Remember when AJ lost to Ruiz and Wilder said he'd never be a champion? Now, yeah, Wilder got knocked out on the same day as AJ on June 1st, and he got embarrassingly knocked out. Yeah. But see, the difference is how badly has a lot of what Deontay Wilder said aged, because Joshua went and got the belt back the very next fight. Yes, he's lost them again since then, but you got like knocked out in 2021 and 2022. Ain't never seen a title since. Had one win with an old sparring partner. Literally, you've had one win in your last 5 fights. Like that's, you know, that's nigh on embarrassing at this point for such a elite heavyweight. On the whole of PBC under the same management, fake advisor. Yeah, but they still seem to make fights with each other. Just not the fights that people want. The fights people want, they like to try and marinate for 3-4 years until both people get beat, and then they try to put it on the fight and charge you pay-per-view for it. No thanks. That's the one thing I'm happy I'm not in the US about. White would smash Wilder differently. The valid possibility. Wow, is it base? Never knew he cheated with. So yeah, there's a lot that there's people finding out. I thought Wilder was a holy man. Well, I mean, he lent into that bad boy persona for a little while after being the pastor's son for God knows, you know. I mean, look, the money, the fame, and the people that was gassing up his head changed him into what we have now come to notice. He's tried to come back to reality, but I'm sorry, it's too late now. Jam down. What is Fury's top 5? Klitschko, White, Chisora, Hammer, Wallin. That sounds like a decent shout. Yeah. I would maybe put Wilder 5th and take out Hammer. Is USA heavyweight boxing finished now? Well, no, because look, we still got to see Jared Anderson, what he does. Richard Torres, Cassius Chaney, and Michael Hunter actually fighting this Saturday for the interim. I think it's an interim, or it might be the WBA regular title. So, or potentially it might be the interim title. I can't remember which one. But look, they're still kind of knocking about. But yeah, if Anderson gets smashed by Bocoli, then it's not looking good for the rest of their heavyweight division. I totally agree with you there, Flizzy. Just imagine this. What if Wilder never fired Mark Breland? What would his career have happened? Yeah, I mean, he may have still ended up losing the third Fury fight, but I'm sure that he would have put in better performances against the people he fought afterwards. Although to be fair, the third Fury fight, he did okay for the first 4 rounds. The first 5 rounds was competitive, and then but he basically ran out of gas from like round 2. Managed to pull it out the bag a little bit in sort of round 5, and that was under Malik, so it wasn't terrible. But yeah, it just is what it is. Jared is going to get smashed by Bocoli. Not sold on Jared one bit, to be honest. Anderson is a pretender. Maybe him spinning around was him turning the other cheek. Was very Christian thing to do, to be honest. Yeah. Oh, mate. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now? Let's go over a little orange haze. I'm gonna stay on for about another 10 minutes. I'm gonna put a link in the chat. Anyone wants to come on for the last 10 minutes or so, we could talk. If not, don't worry. I will be jumping off at 35 exactly, because I do have to set up for the I've got to set up for the following stream on the undefeated. Well, shout out to the beauty of the pencil. Greetings, base. Just tuned in. Hope I haven't missed much. You've missed the majority of it, but I promise you, go back 15-20 minutes and you'll get all you need from this stream. Shout out to Cosdemato as well. Salute to you. Blizzy, FA and Frank Sanchez. Is there any hope for them? They can both be like in good fights. I mean, Sanchez may be less than FA because his style doesn't lean well to great, fun, entertaining fights unless you put him in there with someone like a Caballero, who's now become a pressure fighter after being a pure back foot boxer for the majority of his career. But yeah, someone like him, someone like a Chisora or an Usyk, or just someone that's basically going to come forward and just put pressure on you and make you have to constantly work. Frank Sanchez against Daniel Dubois would be a fun fight because Daniel's not going to really let him rest. FA, I mean, look, if he was based over here, he'd be the equivalent of fringe European, but he can still be in a couple of fun fights. I don't expect him to do much, but it's at times like this we need healer done for. I mean, yeah, this would have been a perfect chance for him to come back. Although, to be fair, he never, he wasn't championing Wilder too much like that. He was very much on that Fury bandwagon. Like Tony Yoka, he absolutely disappeared. A shame he didn't get in the mix with AJ Dubois, etc. Yeah, very true. Just watched the Dubois versus Hrgovic fight. I root for Dubois, but he used his head a lot, which majorly contributed to the cuts rather than punches. Yes. Now, I heard that Hrgovic actually did have a cut that they had basically tried to treat from before, and that was one of the ones that kind of opened up. But yeah, Dubois going in with the head definitely did contribute to, I'm not saying that they opened up the cuts, because the cuts may have been actually caused by actual punches, or at least the starting of them, but the head going in, like, he was definitely using the Evander Holyfield tactic of getting the head in and like basically rubbing the gristle and and the little short spikes of hair that he's got, and actually like rubbing it towards the eyes to try and open them up a little more, because and to irritate the skin and whatnot. Holyfield used to do that all the time. Very effective, to be honest. But the thing that I find ironic about that is the referee constantly was warning Hrgovic about rabbit punches, and this is the one fight he wasn't even throwing rabbit punches. There's only 2 times he hit Daniel Dubois with a shot that even looked like it went anywhere near the back of his head, and both of those times Daniel Dubois is the one that actually dipped his head and turned his head into the shot, and it looked like there was more on the side of the head than towards the back, but the referee's constantly tapping the back. Nope, not there, and he did that numerous times and stopped the action to do it as well. But yet Daniel Dubois just going in with that headbutt, like constantly, consistently, and he only got warned. He got warned verbally maybe once or twice, and then finally got warned in the 7th round, just before obviously it gets stopped in the 8th. So yeah, it's insane how Dubois is still 26. You would think he's 32. He's been in the game for a while now. Yeah, turned over when he was 19. AJ at 26 was fighting white, while Dubois fighting elite level. Insane future for him. I mean, look, once AJ's gone, if he can keep up this this current trajectory he's on, he can definitely be the heir apparent. You going to Selhurst Park for CBS versus Reactport? I'm hoping to. It's going to depend on whether I get accreditation or not. Not because I don't want to go and I'm not prepared to obviously sit in the crowd. I am, but there's certain things that I need to do, and I would much rather. And if I don't get accreditation, there's other things that I can kind of be putting my money towards that weekend. You know, there's a few other bits and pieces going on. So yeah, if I get the accreditation, I'll go. I've got some business that I need to take care of in that vicinity with certain people that apparently want to see me. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, hopefully I will be there. Dubois is as soft as a brick. Never forget the undefeated men were questioning if it was brick on the inside too until he pulled up on them. Dubois did say by any means. That's true, he did, and he stuck to it. AJ beats Dubois, but Dubois can come again. Yeah, he's in that position now where even if he takes another loss, as long as it's a good loss, and I know that that's a funny word to say because no loss is really good, but as long as it's like not another sitting it out or taking a knee type of loss, like he'll be fine. It won't really diminish his stock because he's only taking on big opponents at the minute. Assuming AJ Dubois happens, he can't eat too many AJ's right hands. Even if he wins, that fight will never be the same. I'd argue AJ ruined White's punch resistance. He most certainly did. Yes, he did. And AJ, you know, if AJ hits him the way that Hrgović was hitting him, it is good night for Daniel. Or if it's not good night, he will wobble, because there are several times he even had to clench and hold on to Hrgović, and Hrgović don't throw his shots as heavily or as correctly as Anthony Joshua, so he needs to be careful of that. Would you guys say Dubois' resume is better than Wilder's and White's? It's better than Wilder's, it's not better than White's. And that's taking into account, I guess, who he's lost to as well. Because, all right, if people want to count the low blow as a legit punch or whatever, well, he had some success against Usyk. Usyk beat Fury, who beat Wilder. So that win, that loss, has aged a lot better for him. Plus his level of opposition. You know, I would take Jerome Miller and Filip Hrgović to beat Luis Ortiz. So yeah, I actually think Atama can do well. I rate him as a talent that can step up. Yeah, I agree with you. But why was there a British ref for the Dubois fight? I hate seeing refs and judges being from the same country as one of the fighters. Yeah, but the thing is, remember, Saudi are sanctioned and supported by the British Boxing Board of Control. And because it's not a world title fight where you have to have try to have a neutral referee or whatever, it's going to be a British ref because the Saudis aren't, they're not qualified enough to referee matches at that level, unfortunately. And it was an interim title. It wasn't if it was a full title, then it wouldn't have been a British referee, but it wasn't. So I noticed the refs favored the Queensberry fighters more. Yep, that's true. It's not just the refs. The entire, from what I've been told and from people that was there, the entire promotion, the entire thing was very Queensberry favorable. In terms of Queensberry were allowed, or the Queensberry fighters were allowed to have more fans and entourage in attendance to everywhere, whereas the Matchroom guys were always it was like a +1 or maybe +2 at best. That's what I was hearing that was going on kind of throughout the arena and throughout the hotels and stuff. So yeah, personally, Nick Ball's a borderline dirty. Oh no, Nick Ball is very, very, very dirty fighter, but I enjoy watching Nick Ball and I like Nick Ball. So I still think he lost, and I'll give everyone the reason why on the breakdown in a little bit. But yeah, to me, Rayford won that fight clean. Right. If I had to summarize Wilder's career, I would say it was exciting but disappointing. And the reason I say exciting is because some of the KOs were highlight reels, but the career decisions were thumbs down. Yep, 100%. Okay, well look, I've got to jump off this one now and get ready for the next stream. So I'm gonna leave this one here for ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you can leave your comments still in the live chat. Go into the comment section, leave comments there if you want. Let me put the I'm gonna put all of the anyone wants all the socials and stuff. They're all down there. But yeah, catch me in just under 30 minutes on the breakdown on the Undefeated Podcast channel. I am still under contract. They haven't accepted any talks of resignations or garden leave. So yes, I have to. So I will be there in attendance with Tony, knowing that he also found his way out to Saudi and left me here doing paperwork and whatnot. But fine, no worries. And as the beauty of the pencil says, hit the like button. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Shout out to Cuz Demoto, the last one in the building. But yeah, that being said, thank you very much. Don't forget to come back next week. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. There will be more content for you guys. But until then, Hardcore Casual out.
Maybe I'ma make it, maybe I'm not. In time we'll see. But who better than me? I don't care if you agree. I ain't saying that I'm better than anyone, but who better than me?